Hey yo guys, here's a quick run through of the March-April training cycle. So the general flow of the system is going to be quite similar to the last training cycle, but there are a few important differences, so pay attention. So on day one, week one, you're going to squat 85%, 2 sets of 3 and 1 set of 3 plus. Now if you have been working off of a 1 rep max, keep using that number. If during the test week you worked up to something heavier than you've ever done before, start using that number. But if you haven't, just keep on using the same number. So it's going to be 85% of that number for 2 sets of 3 and 1 set of 3 plus. You're going to do 75% for 2 sets of 5. Then you're going to do 60% for 1 set of as many reps as possible. Obviously then it becomes super important to track your 3 plus number here and your 60% number here. Over the course of the 6 weeks, you'll be doing 65% in week 2 and then 70% in week 3 for as many reps as possible. And then in week 4, 5 and 6 you come back to those numbers and you try and beat them. You're going to do then a dumbbell bench press, which is DBB, or dips depending on where your strength level is at. So if you can't get 4 sets of 8 to 12 reps with a 20 or 25 kilo dumbbells, then you need to do dumbbell bench press. If you can do that, you're going to push on and start working on your dips. It's going to be 4 sets of between 8 and 12 reps. You may or you may not get all of them in. But again, we're going to try and look for an increase in workload over time. With the density block, you've got a close grip bench press at 60% for 8, dumbbell row for 12. And again, these density blocks, the duration is going to be at the coach's discretion, but usually between 8 and 12 minutes. And again, looking to increase rounds each week and then bump the weight up over time. Then in the conditioning block, you're going to do a goblet squat, 20% of your back squat max. So that is, if you have a 100 kilo back squat, you need a 20 kilo kettlebell. If you have like 150 kilo back squat, you need a 30 kilo kettlebell, or whatever the closest kettlebell to that is. 8 sets of 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off, just like you did last week. And that's it. On day 2, it's very similar. Your bench press percentages are the same as your squats. Then on your B, you're going to do a pause bench press. So it's going to stop on your chest for 1 to 2 seconds for 2 sets of 5 reps. Then 60%, as many reps as possible. Please make sure you've got your safety rack set up or spotter. You're going to come back then, close grip bench press, 4 sets of 8 to 12 reps. That needs to be something you can actually get your reps in at as well. You need to have every set fall in between 8 and 12 reps. So your first set should be like a tough 12, so somewhere around 70%. And then as the sets go on, you may notice a drop off in the reps. Density block, then you're going to start with stiff leg deadlifts, 50% for 10 reps. Again, that's just a starting percentage. It may be too easy, it may be too hard, but we'll adjust it based off of that. And then a standing dumbbell overhead press for 10 as well. So you're just going to bash through those 10 reps. Again, this is all subject to change as we get further into the cycle. Then on the conditioning block, you've got just 8 sets of push-ups, 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off. Finally, day 3, you got a deadlift. You're going to pull either off the floor or in a rack pull. 85%, 2 sets of 3, 1 set of 3. So this is basically, there's pluses have been removed. So this should probably read 3 sets of 3. You're going to do then 75% for 2 sets of 5. A halting stiff leg deadlift for 60%, 3 sets of 8. Basically all that is you're going to pause below your knees. So you're going to lower it to the bottom position, hang on to it there for 1 second. So give yourself a 1/1000 count and stand back up again. If the 1/1000 count is easy, go to 2 seconds. 65% in week 2, 70% in week 3. Just trying to stay in this 8 to 10 rep range. Then a barbell row. Again, same story as your close grip bench press. You want something where the first set is quite tough for 12, and then hold on to that weight for the 4 sets. You may notice a drop off in reps, but that's okay. Density block, floor press, which is basically a bench press lying on the floor. 65% of your bench 1 rep max for 6 sets, or for sets of 6 to 8. Superset with split squats, weighted, 10 each side. And again, you're going to look to increase the rounds each week. Finally then, conditioning block, thrusters, 8 sets on, 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off. And do try to push these a little bit heavier. So there's dumbbells now between 5, 7.5, 10, 12.5, 15, 17.5, and 20 to 25 kilos in the gym. So please try and bump up the weights each week. The jumps are no longer that big. You'll be able to actually move them along each time. That's just a really brief overview. I just wanted to get in and do it really quickly for you before you got into the cycle. I'm going to do a more detailed one later in the week where we'll talk about some of the more subtler nuances of the program. But until then, peace out and stay strong.